And gentlemen, my name is Raafaa. This is initiative episode number 4. We actually have kind of a surprise guest. When kind of planning out everything, I was surprised that you would be available on such short notice. So I'm glad we have you here, Raheen. So why don't you, for all the homies in the amateur scene, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Start off, my name is Sami, but most people may know me as Raheen, and I'm Canadian and I live in Toronto.
Solid. All right. So a lot of people that are familiar with the amateur scene will know you currently as the AD carry or bot laner for ANEW Blaze. But before we get into your competitive history and your current experience with ANEW Blaze so far in the 2021 Proving Ground circuit, let's kind of dial the time and clock back here, Raheen. First, before we get into League, what games did you grow up on?
Actually, to start off, I used to play a lot of like console games like FIFA, Madden,
Oh, word. Okay.
NHL, those, and then when me and my brother got our first PC, his friend came over and showed us RuneScape at the time.
Yeah.
So RuneScape was the first game I actually started playing, and I remember I was like training strength here and there. But I played that game for a couple years. I stopped playing after they brought out Evolution of Combat. But right before that, my brother actually was like staking.
Mm-hmm.
And then he lost his entire bank. So I flipped it. I took my 10 mil, and then we made it back to like 50 mil. And then
Yo.
I just gave him all the gold, and I just quit RuneScape from that. And then after Evolution of Combat, that same friend that showed us RuneScape showed us League. So I started playing League in like late season 3 or something, and I've been playing ever since. Yeah. So those are the main games I'll play. Here and there, I'll play stuff like Call of Duty. I've played stuff Fortnite here and there, but it's been mainly League since grade 6. So
Damn.
been playing League for a while now. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So at what point, so what season did you then get into League? Is that season?
I think it was the end of season 3. Like season 2 just had ended,
Mm-hmm.
and then season 4 is like my first year playing fully. So that's when I started at League. In season 4.
Mm-hmm. And did you know like right away that you were gonna be a bot laner, or were there other roles that you were just kind of like feeling
No,
out?
actually, I was playing mid back when the old Gragas, the old Nidalee, and when Kaz used to go mid lane and he used to like be able to EW in the air. That's when I started playing, and then slowly but surely I stopped. Like all those reworks happened, and I started like playing Vayne. I played a bunch of Lee Sin, Zed. It was weird, and then I think like season 5 or something. That's when I mainly became a ADC player. Because I remember watching a video of Piglet, and he was like, because Piglet used to be a mid main too, but then he hated how his bottom lanes always inted, and I felt the same way. And I'm like, all right, time to roll out to ADC. So I just did that, and yeah, I've loved the role. So
True.
really fun playing it.
That's so funny. But I can see where that comes from. I mean, you obviously have already shown an affinity towards mechanically complex champions. I assume just because they're super fun, right? And now, like within the past couple of years, we've gotten very mechanically complex AD carries. So I imagine that it must be a fun time for you right now.
Yeah, I mean, I've been enjoying the role. I've been liking all the champs, all the miniature and stuff. So it's been enjoyable playing it, for sure.
That's dope, man. So, well, you got into League, first full year being season 4. At what point, like, did you hit like, I don't know if you hit like Diamond, you're like, okay, I want to play competitively. I don't know if you hit like higher rank than that. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, at what point did you want to start playing competitively, or think you could start playing competitively?
Actually, I didn't plan on playing this game competitive at all. my main goal was just to hit masters. Or back then it used to be like Diamond 1 to Challenge or something. There was no masters tier or whatnot, and I just wanted to hit masters. I just wanted to get that goal. But first I'd hit Diamond. I remember that night I got Diamond 5 for the first time. It was like 12, and I ran upstairs and told my older brother, and he was studying for his exam. And I'm just like, I hit Diamond, and I was just so excited. But after I hit Diamond, I got demoted a couple times, got back up there, so it was a roller coaster. And then it was Diamond 5, and then I remember getting Diamond 3 the next season, and after that I'm like, I want to hit Masters the first time. And then season 7 I hit it for the first time Masters, and then I was like just happy, I was a little kid, and I was just like, holy shit, Masters already this young. And then after hitting Masters, I'm like, okay, I want one season where I hit Challenger. And season 9 was the year I hit Challenger for the first time, and I hit it, and then that account that I was playing on got actually permabanned because I was extremely toxic.
Oh.
So in season 9 I used to put on a different ID, and then I was extremely toxic, and then that was an eye-opener. I'm like, okay, like now that I hit Challenger, I'm good enough. I just need to like improve, and maybe I can get pro. And then as like the competitive scene developed, I just fell in the game. Like I loved the game more and more, and I'm just like, okay, I want to go pro in League. So that changed the way I think about the game. And now season 9, season 10, Challenger, hoping to do the same in season 11. My new goal is to hit 1 KLP for the first time. So once I achieve that, it's gonna be like top 10. That's my baby steps, That I
There
keep
you go.
improving slowly. And yeah, that's how it's been. And then, to answer that question, so once I hit Challenger, scouting grounds were the thing, and I'm like, okay, like maybe I'm a random, but maybe a team will pick me up and we can play and hopefully get into scouting grounds, do the competitive side, not solo queue. But yeah, that's how I started, or that's how I wanted to play competitive and see how what amateur takes me to.
Yeah. So before you got in contact with a new Blaze, were there any other teams, whether even if it was like a group of friends that like went to like a weekend online tournament, was there any competitive team experience that you had before coming onto the Blaze roster?
ANEW would be the first like real competitive team I played on in the way, because the other teams I played on were just like lower leagues, and to me they were just easy because I'm a challenger player and the rest were just like diamond players. So it was more like friends of ANEW, and they're just like, hey, can you sub in for this league? I'm like, sure, I'll do it in my free time, because I was a free agent, so I didn't have anything to do other than solo queue, and solo queue is just sometimes it's boring.
Yeah.
That's that. In my first year of university, I go to University of Toronto. I did play for one of the teams, and then after that 1 year, I just decided that collegiate isn't the route I want to go to. Collegiate isn't as exciting as I thought it would be, so I stopped playing collegiate. And even this year, someone from the University of Toronto like randomly reached out to me and said that if I want to play on the team, and I just said no. I want to focus on solo queue and if I can amateur. But when Chia, the old owner of coach of ANEW Blaze, reached out to me and says there's a potential spot that night, I'm like, sure. I'll sub in for that Challenger Showdown thing, and they said that if they like me enough, they'll take me. And
yeah,
so ANEW Blaze has been like my first actual competitive team in a way. So
yeah,
it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, the funny thing about that, I guess your first day of playing with ANEW Blaze, I happened to cast one of your games. It was not on the mainstream, but me and Coco were working with I think a news team to like broadcast your game on their stream, and we we remember that like the support had to go to a wedding. I think Breezy at the time had to go to a wedding.
We had Pocket, sorry. And yeah, I remember that game against Conviction.
And the other ADC was like, no, I'm not playing if it's not my support, man. I was well, but that was a blessing in disguise for you, because afterwards they're like, yo, Raheen is super cracked. We should just take him because he has a clearly better attitude than the other guy. And then you got onto ANEW Blaze.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I was super cracked, but I think I was performing pretty poorly. But that being said, I mean, I think I've upped my play, or I've upped my play from a lot. And the biggest thing is that my team was just with me at my lows. And you know, when I was inting and I was performing bad, they had my back and they said it's okay. And my Chia was a big part of it, and he was like, "Don't worry, just like you just need to get back into it." And he trusted me. And then, I mean, we got to semis with Chia. Unfortunately, we didn't perform yesterday against New's main team. We lost 2-1 to series to them. But overall, it's been really good. I've been enjoying the team, and I just can't wait what we can do in open qualifiers for Challenger Uprising. And then Challenger Uprising is the last tier 2 tournament, I believe, and then after that, hopefully make it to tier 1. I think we've pretty much guaranteed our spot, but obviously I still want to win, or at least make the finals at the very least of a tier 2 tournament.
Yeah, for sure. So now let's kind of talk about ANEW Blaze. I know you got to talk with me and Smacks the other night, and you know, let's just kind of have an extended conversation about this dynamic that you talked about, where, you know, I think the most glowing thing that I remember you talking to us about is how much like how positive an environment the team dynamic is, how everyone is super trusting of everyone on the call, and even if like plays happen and mistakes happen, everyone is like, don't worry, you know, we can still win this game. And there's just a lot of reassurance from everyone, right?
Yep. I mean, going back to game 1, the game 1, we were, I think, like a couple thousand goal behind, and then Pocket made a good play, and then, to be honest, I was like, it was a bad play, but then Alorm was like, just go, and then we just called it, and then everyone ulted, and then, I mean, we ended up winning that fight, which got a second dragon, so, and then it set the game on a good comeback for us, and then we were able to capitalize on ANEW's main team's mistakes, and we got sold 22 minutes into the game, which was pretty big, and we ended the game 4 minutes after getting a Baron or something. So yeah, I mean, we, like, even that top lane push where it was 4v5, I mean, we wanted to back off and wait for Lorem, but Lorem was like, just go, and then we said, okay, let's just go, and we just pushed, and then we ended up winning the game off that push. So
yeah,
we all trust each other's calls, and if it goes bad, it's not no one's fault. We take it as a team. We win and we lose as a team, right?
Right.
That's how the game is played.
And to clarify for any viewers watching or watching this VOD at a later time, Raheen is referring to their first game against a new main, which occurred this past Tuesday during the quarterfinals of Big League, which honestly, that series was exciting for many reasons. One, the game one, as you already mentioned, there was a strong opening from a new main, but like you said, there was a call that was essentially made from a Lorem, and even though that, you know, you might have thought that, okay, maybe this isn't the best thing, everyone trusted the call, and because everyone committed, it worked out. And there's something about, you know, when all 5 players have the trust and commit to something, even if it's a quote-unquote bad play, sometimes it works out because everyone full sends, you know. And
exactly.
And I don't know if you're a fan of Parks and Rec, Raheen, but you know, in the words of Ron Swanson, you don't half-ass, you know, 2 things. You just gotta, because if half the team is like doing one call and the other half the team is gonna do a different call, then it's
a mess.
It's a mess, right? If everyone just kind of whole asses that and commits on that one call, then it can work out, right?
Yeah, I agree.
So, but then, unfortunately for you guys, you know, games 2 and 3, not so.
Way. Yep.
Yeah, didn't go your way. I don't know if you would feel comfortable kind of disclosing what happened during, if it was just like stylistic diff with the more of the early game aggression that a new main had came out with, or were there like mistakes made by the team in the early game?
I think game 2 was just a mixture of us. I mean, a new main team. I'm not sure if they saw, like, cause they watched our VODs or whatnot, but I think they showed a clear weakness as our jungle has a small pool as of right now.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, they disrupt our game plan by lane invading both games, our jungler,
Yeah.
which set him pretty far behind. And when our jungler is pretty far behind and we can't make plays to bring him back, the game will be like permanently a 4v5. Not to mention, Alorum was in a horrible matchup back-to-back games.
Mm-hmm.
Or not horrible, at least game 3 he was, but game 2 he was an alright matchup. But they made sure that our new main team made sure that they played to their win con and got Viper ahead on those picks. And after Viper was ahead, the game was really hard to play because we just couldn't match the side lane pressure that they had.
Sure.
So it was just a mixture of us or them, our new main team playing well and playing to their strengths or their comp strengths,
Mm-hmm.
and us not doing our job or good enough. I think that our coach was taking a lot of the blame for draft, but obviously we all could have said something in draft that maybe could have resulted in a different outcome. But I think it was just more of them or a new main team just performing better than us in games 2 and 3.
Sure.
And they deserve it.
Yeah. Now when it comes down to the head-to-head between you guys, I think in overall series score, you guys are 1-1 since you guys came out the victorious ones during the quarterfinal matchup over in Risen. And so now I think the next goal for you guys is not only to smurf it through the open qualifiers and cup, but then find a chance to be able to face a new main and obviously, you know, have a better game plan going up into being able to either protect your jungler or being able to answer those late invades, right?
Yep. It'd be funny if we had to play against them in quarters again. It'd be 3 times in a row, but
yeah, it would be nuts.
Yeah.
So, and now that you guys, you know, since I was about to say Tuesday, but it literally was yesterday. So since yesterday, you know, you guys have had the day off today, and then I'm assuming tomorrow you guys will start having scrims. You know, what are some things that you guys as a team are looking to mainly improve on so that you guys are prepared for open qualifiers on Friday?
Yeah, I think we just before heading to scrims, we just discuss what our plan is and what we want to practice going into open qualifiers. To me, it's quite clear what I want to work on, but we have to just get back with our 2 coaches,
Yeah,
and the 5 players, and hopefully we can get an agreement on what we should start improving on, and then go from there.
for sure. So, stepping away from a new Blaze and starting to focus more on you, Mr. Raheen. We've talked a little bit about your kind of like play style over the years, as you've definitely had an affinity towards a lot of these mechanically complex champions like the Lee Sin, the Zed, the Nidalee. But, you know, at the end of the day, you finally settled down into, you know, bottom lane. Before that, you were a mid laner. So, as a bottom laner, how would you define your current play style?
My current play style, obviously, when I say this, I think I can say this for almost every ADC. Every ADC wants to get like all the resources, I get like 4 items and just one shot everyone look good. But for me personally, I think winning is more important than looking good. If I have to play weak side champs like Senna or Ezreal and stuff, I will for the greater good of the team, because at the end of the day, it's a team game. And if, for example, you know, Alora wants to pick up a carry champ and he thinks it's good, but it requires bot to get fewer resources, that is okay with me. Or vice versa, it goes to jungle, mid. Like, to me, it's perfectly fine. So I am more of a team player, but in solo queue, I see blood in my eyes, I will go for it. Like, I will try to play for 2v2 lane, because obviously it's a different environment, but if I had a choice, it'd definitely be team player. I think team player, and then hopefully just scale and just out team fight the enemy team.
Sure.
Not much else to say, really.
So, trying to expand on that topic a little bit. Um, Identifying yourself as a team player. I mean, it's obviously a lot different than, you know, when you played solo queue and when you were first grinding, because in solo queue you kind of just have to assume that, you know what, I don't know if my teammates are going to be good or not, you know, every single game. So, you know, how would you say, as someone who is entering competitive and making their competitive debut in the amateur scene, what were some of the struggles that you had to kind of overcome adapting to Five's gameplay versus solo queue gameplay?
I mean, when you're playing competitive and amateur, teams are just more like they play off each other. And solo queue is just kind of it's just a like, random fiesta, like more majority of the time. Like,
Yeah.
you can ping 6 times and then your mid laner will still die or something. But in competitive, you have comms, which is a lot better, and you can speak to your team when you need help or whatnot, right? Obviously. I mean, the biggest thing for me was just identify as what our team is, like what are our team strengths, what are our team weaknesses, and then play off of it, obviously. So, into competitive, I mean, no, this is my first like real year playing competitive league, so I mean, I'm still learning that myself. But for the most part, it just be identify what your team wants to play, like what are your team strengths, what are your team's weaknesses, and then hopefully the team or the team that you're playing on can get to some sort of agreement where they want to play or whatnot, you know? Because sometimes when you don't define like what your team wants to play, although you guys may be 5 individually skilled players, your team play won't be there, and then it'll just come falling the team. So
yeah. Oh, it's in ways, I think it's definitely a blessing to be able to just have comms in general, because it's easier to express yourself, and if something like that you normally would not be able to communicate frustrates you in like normal solo queue, right? And it's like, oh man, if I could have just like, I tried to tell this person that this person's missing and now he's dead because he overextended and he didn't listen to, you know, like the information I was giving, right? And so
yeah, and I think the biggest thing is in competitive, when like a mistake happens, you can rewatch it and then you can all agree what the best choice would have been.
yeah.
But in solo queue, when you try to argue with someone, they're just like, nah, I'm right.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I mean, so it is what it is. I mean, what can you do? You can't really force a player to see the way you're thinking or how you're seeing the game. Because obviously playing ADC, I see the game one way or from one perspective, and my mid, top, jungle, and support all see the game from a different perspective. Right?
for sure.
Because we all do want to do what's best for our lanes, but sometimes, or for the majority of the time, you can't do that. So someone just has to take the L while the other one's taking the W. So
Yeah. Well, it's definitely nice to be able to just like, if something goes wrong, I imagine that at some point someone's just like, you know what? Let's just save it for the VOD review and we'll see. Right?
right, that's also with and solo queue people are just constantly, oh, this play 10 minutes down the line, but in competitive, like the play happens, you just okay, what do we have to do now in order to get the win, or what do we have to do to do X or Y? You know, like everyone just goes to the next topic, but in solo, it's just like, oh, you entered at level 2, and while it's like 17 minutes into the game, it's like, okay, like I entered, but what can you do about it? Right?
It happened. Relax. Like,
let's move on to the next play. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, it's hard. It's because people have giant egos in solo queue and always want to assume that everyone's wrong and they're right, right? So
yeah.
But that must be nice, like transitioning into a competitive scene where, you know, you finally are able to be on the same page with players, and you know, you, like you said, sometimes you have to sacrifice a little bit of your agency for the sake of the composition. But you know, if you have trust in others when they have the responsibility of the strong side or the carry role, then you have that trust in them now, right?
Yeah. I think I also forgot to mention was that although this might be my first competitive year, I did have a lot of like quote unquote like competitive experience. Like for example,
okay,
I I did try out for TSM twice for the junior team, I believe, in the summer.
Oh, okay.
I've tried out for I think when Golden Guardians had their massive tryout, I did try that for that, and obviously, I've been getting coached from there to now, still I am, by multiple coaches. In the for example, main coach I get coached by almost once a month is Vigor V2.
Oh, Vigor V2. Okay.
So he helps a lot with my micro, macro decision making, and just or like game to game. And so it's a big help, obviously. But yeah. So although this might be my first competitive year, I am more familiar than the typical competitive player, just because I've had experience at that higher level, someone can say, right? Because not often do you get to play with academy players or play against them in a scrim set or in houses and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
But obviously I had that opportunity and it's been helping me a lot. So
Oh, that's awesome. And I think Vigar V2 is now affiliated technically with
Cloud9.
Yeah, Cloud9 now, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cloud9 picked up a bunch of people.
Coaching staff is quite nice. Yeah, they have Mithy, Max Waldo, I believe, Vega V2, they know War.
Yeah.
So their coaching staff is really nuts.
Yeah, it's really stacked. Picking up Max Waldo was a huge move. That was definitely my favorite, like, off-season roster pickup in just both player and staff. I'm actually curious now. How did you get into contact with Vigar V2? Was it through the tryouts you had with TSM Junior or Golden Guardians, or?
No, actually I was just looking at Twitch one morning, or it was one afternoon, I believe, and I saw Vega V2, and I've known Vega V2 back when he used to work with Fnatic. So obviously I knew he was good, and then he was coaching in a jungler, and I was just like hearing what he was saying, and I'm like, you know, this guy sounds smart. So obviously, in his Twitch bio, he had like his Discord server, so I clicked that, I joined it, and then I was just messaging him, I'm like, hey, I'd like to get coached by you, what time works best for you? And obviously he's in Europe, so time difference, but whatnot, but eventually we got a time that we both can work with, and then I got a VOD, and he just viewed them, just okay, like, this man's the man.
Yeah.
And then ever since I think I got 3 more sessions with him, and I try to give him like the best quality VODs I can get, so obviously we can learn the most, and he can show me the most, and keep growing, because what I think like Heart's like 300 LP last season, and then after I got coached by him 2 times, I went up to 900 LP. So obviously,
holy
there's
shit,
a correlation with Big RV2 coaching and him. So I mean, obviously, he's been helping me a lot. He's a great coach, and a lot of the people that during my time when I was going to 900 LP, I was like, "Yo, what the hell's happening to you? What happened to you?" And I mean, I'm just getting coached by Big RV2. I mean, to average person,
yeah,
it's not. I mean, he does cost a lot, but in my mind, the quality is really good. So it's like when you go play, I mean, this is gonna be weird, but like when you go and buy something from Gucci or something, like the sweater, it's quite expensive because the quality is like expensive, like the quality is insane, right?
Yeah.
So I do pay a decent amount, but I think it's worth it, and at the end my goal is to be an LCS player one day, so anything I can do that can help me get there faster, I'll be more than happy to do.
Yeah. How old are you, Raheen?
I'm 19, turning 20 this year.
Okay, yeah. No, you still have time. So, and you're on the right track. I have to say, when you mentioned how your friends kind of like watched the transformation, like, whoa, what happened? You're so good at League. That sounded just like if I was watching a fitness trainer ad. Like, I worked with this coach, and now I'm like 50 pounds lighter, or like I and so now,
Yeah,
Raheen,
I know what you mean.
Yeah, all you got to do now to help Vigar V2 with the marketing, just be like, I had 2 sessions with Vigar V2, and now I gained X amount of LP, and you can't do.
I mean, yeah, in his Discord, I even like posted screenshots of like my climb, and like 40 to 50 people were like reacting with emotes or whatnot. But I mean, I think I've sent a decent amount of people towards him, and not that I want credit or anything. That like they say, hey, do you want me to say that Raheen sent him? Like, don't even say my name. Just go in there and just do it, because I don't want to look like a person that's trying to get something out of it, right? I mean, he does. That's his job, or that's what he does, and what he does is his business, not mine. I'm just there. I'm like, hey, if you want to get better at the game, this is the guy that helped me. If you want to think the way he helped me, and then they explain like, oh, what did you do? I'm like, okay, in the first 40 to 30 minutes, he'll look at your OPWG, tell you your champs, your builds, runes, etc., and then from there he'll review your gameplay and then whatnot. But yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed a lot of his coaching. He's a good guy. I've even from time to time I send him like clips and like, hey, what's the best option here and here, and he helps me champs through patch and patch.
Yeah.
I'm even sub to his Patreon, so I get to get more coaching from other people. For example, like he coaches people like Crown Shot, which is ex LEC player for SK, and I just rewatched his VODs. I rewatched mine with him, and then just always trying to learn, right? So
yeah. So I know like LS works with Crown Shot and Nemesis, and they're like partnered. Is Vigar V2? Does he have a connection to LS that you are able to use as well?
I don't. I mean, I think the background story is that 1 year LS had like a training ground, but for coaches only, and that's how Vigar V2 was found. So he thought Vigar V2 was really smart. This is what I believe, though, so I'm not sure if it's 100% true, but so then that's where Vigar V2 got a coach, or he was coaching Fnatic. But no, I don't really talk to LS. I've never spoke to him. I mean, I do watch his stuff because it's interesting.
Yeah.
But aside from that, the Vigar V2 is my coach.
Yeah.
So
oh, for sure. I was
yeah,
just curious, but that's super cool, and I think that's something. I think that's a great initiative, no pun intended, for the show, but it's a great step that you took forward for yourself, right? You knew that, you know what, I'm not going to be the best that I can be just by myself, you know, and understanding that you just need to get help, and getting a mentor of some sort is right. Yeah, it shows a lot about your character.
I think the biggest thing is like, when I knew that I was hard stuck to LP, I knew that I needed someone better than me to tell me what I was doing wrong and what I can improve on. And the biggest thing is, either in this year, was just like, as weird as it sounds, like, just drop ego and ask for help.
Yeah.
Like Vigar V2 is not the only person. When I was doing Tryouts, I messaged in that Discord. It was like LCS coach, academy coach.
Oh,
like
hey Raheen, before you keep going, it's your microphone is doing the thing.
Can you hear me now?
Yep. So start if you can, start that over.
Oh yeah. So I was saying the biggest thing is just like, I dropped my ego and I'm like, okay, I'm a bad player. I need help, obviously, right? I mean, if I'm hard stuck 200 LP for like 5 months, there's something wrong with me. Anyways, during that time, when I was trying out for GGS, so Golden Guardians, their in-house, their tryouts, whatnot. There's multiple, like I think 8 academy team, not academy, but like 8 LCS academy coaches for like 8 teams.
Yeah.
So from 100 Thieves, Golden Guardians, EG, Fly, everything. I messaged every single one and asked them if they could VOD review, and some said yes, some said no, and I got help from them. And obviously, when I get to play against good ADCs, Academy, LCS players, you know, if they do, they add me, and then I'm just like, hey, like, what could I have done better in lane? What do you think? And then they reply, they say this, and then I even bounce ideas off them. Okay, like, what do you think about X champion against Y with this rune set, this, etc. So the biggest thing is for me this year, I think I made a lot of connections, and I just, you know, asked help, asked to become a better players where I want to be in like a couple of years or 1 year, and then they've helped me, and then yeah, I mean, it's been a fun experience so far, and I hopefully, you know, by the end of this year, by summer, I can get an academy offer. That's my goal. So
there you go. I'm actually quite impressed with how active you are in looking for help and not to say that other players aren't receptive towards feedback, but I don't think I've talked to a player quite yet who actively goes out of their way to be, messaging teams they just played against, being like, hey, GG, well played, what could have I done better in lane, right? Or, what do you... And I think networking like that is great, and you show a lot of humility by, always being the first one to say, like, hey, you know what, I know I can be playing better, how do you think I should be playing better? Or you're just absorbing as much knowledge as you can into becoming a better player. So I think that's super admirable, and that type of approach and mentality is going to carry you far. And yeah, I have to say, just keep grinding with a new Blaze, and then keep grinding with your coach V2, because I think he's really helped you teach a lot about the game, right? And so the more you are practicing good habits, then the better it's going to be for you in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, that's how I just see it. Everything, like, if you don't ask for help, you won't receive it. And if you are not happy where you are, you just need to get coached by someone better, or someone needs to help you to become better.
Yeah.
Right. And to me, I'm just like, okay, like, because for example, when I first got coached by Vega V2, he told me last season to stick to Ashe, and I pretty much spammed like 150 games of Ashe over the span of like a month or two.
Yeah.
And although people were like, my friends, we were just memeing. They're like, oh, Raheen's Ashe bot. He's nothing else. Blah blah blah. I mean, yeah. It's just funny, but at the end of the day, like, that got me to 900 LP.
Yeah.
Now, I know how to play the game, because when you play a champion for so long, it teaches you how to play the game as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So I learned Ashe, and then obviously, yeah, I mean, now obviously I'm expanding my champ pool to other ADCs, and I believe I'm at the same level, but obviously I think that my plateau can be higher, so slowly but surely improving.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of the philosophy behind one tricking. Like, people can meme one tricks all the time, but if they get far, it's because they never have to worry about certain variables that normally should be confirms that are volatile because you are not experienced on the champion, right? So normally in a situation where if you are playing, let's say, Ezreal, and if you were to do everything right, you land all your skill shots, you get every single auto attack in during the timer, you should get a kill. However, someone who's hasn't put that many games into Ezreal might botch that, and so normally what should be a confirm can actually lead into a misplay or an unforced error, and then you lose. And yeah, that's bad. So when you spam a bunch of games on a champion, you eliminate those margins for error, and then you can focus on, like you said, learning actually how to play the game, because you don't have to learn how to play your fucking champion at the end of the day. So yeah, I think that's a philosophy that a lot more people should take upon themselves if they seriously want to get better at League. And I know people have done it, and it's gone to great success. But now that you're past the phase of having to spam Ashe games, I do want to ask you a couple questions. What are your top 3 favorite champions to play right now? And it doesn't have to necessarily be for your role. If they're all for your role, that's cool. And then what is one champion you wish would come back into the meta so you could pick it for your role?
I mean, I've always been a big fan of Vayne, but she's just... I think Vayne would be the one champ I would love to be meta. I think she's just really fun, a lot of outplay potential. But I think the best 2 champs that I've been enjoying a lot, obviously Kai'Sa is number 1. Since Kai'Sa on release, I actually didn't play. Well, the season that Kai'Sa came out, I actually didn't play League at all that year. So I was late on that, but as of right now, I think the three champs I've been enjoying a lot are like Kaisa, Senum, and then Jin's been getting pretty boring, so I just switched in for Samira, and those three champs I've been just rotating through.
Gotcha.
I mean, you can say Aphelios there too. Like I've been liking these champs, and and Zaya. Like I don't know, some get boring. You just obviously I look at enemy comp and what's best, but those are the champs I've been mainly playing. And for me personally, I'm just like kind of a meta abuser, so whatever's meta, I'll play it because I like LP. I like winning, so whatever best suits, like whatever ADC is the best, I will just pick it and ride with the wave.
That's right. We all love LP, man. I'm curious though. Does your team, or are you not confident that Vayne can't be picked right now in the bottom lane?
I think she can, but I think she just like requires niche circumstances.
Sure.
And, our team hasn't played with Vayne. We haven't practicing it, so our team's just like, okay, let's just play what we've been practicing, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure.
I don't mind that. If I have to play the same champ like 40 games in a row, like I said, I will do it. I do not care. To me, winning is more important. So
yeah,
we practice, and then obviously going into those games, we play what we practice because that's what we feel like is the best.
Hell yeah. Uh-oh. Well, people might have if you heard that noise in the background,
Your lighting fell.
Yeah, some shit fell down.
Yeah.
But it's okay. I'm fine. But it's like, I don't know how loud it was coming through my microphone, but that shit was loud.
That wasn't too loud for me.
Okay. Thank God. I just have to maintain composure for a little bit. All right. Well, I have no more questions, Mr. Raheen. We did briefly kind of touch on what is your goal for the end of the year, which is essentially getting onto Academy. Out of curiosity, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Dominating NA, winning NA, you know.
All
obviously,
right.
it's that big step from where I am, but I want to get Academy, or get into Academy. Hopefully, have a good first year in Academy or first split, whatnot. Eventually, winning Academy, and after Academy, winning NA. After winning NA, onto international level stages, right?
Hell yeah.
To get there, I have a long way to go, so just keep grinding, and then hopefully, eventually, I will get there. I believe in it. I think self-belief and discipline is just main two things you need in life when you're pursuing anything in your life. As long as you believe that you can do it and you put in the work, I wouldn't see why you wouldn't be able to get in there, right? Or to do what you want to do, because I'm a firm believer of do what makes you happy in life, and if you don't, no matter what it is, like let's say you're a lawyer and you're not enjoying being a lawyer, your life will be miserable. So do what makes you happy, and if playing video game makes you happy, then pursue it, right?
Yeah. Fuck yeah, man. I agree with that sentiment. I actually have a quick little question just popped in my head, since we do have a little bit of time left over. Let's see, how should I phrase this? Within the amateur scene, obviously, you know, there are definitely some other ADC players that are high up on the list in terms of competition. You know, who would you say, like, when it comes to like 3 players in your role right now, who are you looking at in terms of like either taking inspiration from or think people are sleeping on in the Proving Ground circuit?
People I think are sleeping on. I think the first one that comes to mind would be, I think, Value. I think he's, a lot of people underrate him in a sense where I think Value is like the definition of a consistent player. Like that man, no matter what he's on, will go either even or slightly ahead in CS. And I think even when we beat ANEW 3-1 in Resident, I think value almost every game was like 10 to 15 CS ahead of me, if not more. And I mean, value is an actual longtime friend, and me and him used to I'll talk almost every day. We still talk, bounce ideas off each other. But I think value is like one of the ADCs I think is really talented. I mean, he's had a lot of experience. He's been in scouting grounds.
Yeah.
Obviously, Maryville, and now he's on ANEW. Obviously, he's like a 3 or 4 time Twitch rival winner. So
Yeah.
I think value is really good at the game. I think another ADC that people are probably sleeping on is Gorica. I think Gorica on Barrage. I think first of all, Barrage I think is the best damage team as of right now. But that being said, I think Gorica, a lot of people probably don't give him credit for. I think he's been performing extremely well on his Kai'Sa. I think that he's drawing a lot of balance to that now. His MF for Samira is also really good. I think Gorica is a really good ADC, and he's definitely surprised me because I think a lot of people had this idea of Gorica being a washed player, but I mean, he certainly proved a lot of people wrong, and good for him. Third ADC that I think is really good or underrated. Just trying to think of all the ADCs playing. I think mainly the third one would be like Team Luke. I think Team Luke and last year had a really bad image of being like one of the worst challenger ADCs, but I think this year he's really like find his groove in a way where I think he's performing really well. Yeah. When he did on Wildcard, he was really well. I think him and Damson were one of the better bottom lanes, I think, in amateur, but obviously he went to CLG Academy for a month and now I think he's looking for a new team. But yeah, I think those are my 3 ADCs that in amateur I'd love to verse again. I think that they bring the best out of you, and probably one of the more underrated ADCs for sure in amateur, without a doubt.
There you go. Yeah, I can't say that I disagree with any of your picks. So I've known Alex since 2019, Gorica. So he's always been really good, and even when he like role swapped briefly to top lane for Western University, he still killed it, and he would bring out Vayne in in certain matchups too. So it's always cool to see.
Sure.
But dope, man. Raheen, thank you so much for your time today. Before I let you go, I want to give you the opportunity to shout yourself out, plug your social media, and then of course give if there's any other players or people or staff members you want to thank before I let you go.
No, for the most part, I mean, honestly, I don't even use Twitter that much. I just kind of use it on game days, retweet what I have to.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, thanks for having me. I mean, this was a really fun experience first time, so I really enjoyed it. And hopefully in the future, I can do more of this type of content for people and, just say or just have unique talks like this or talk about amateur in general, players, etc. So it was fun for sure, for the most part.
Yeah. So, and just in case you're wondering where you're going to be seeing Raheen next, they will be playing with ANEW Blaze in the Challengers Uprising original open qualifiers on Friday, and then assuming they go through as the other 8 teams in that qualifier event, then you'll start seeing them start playing on Challengers Uprising, which will begin next Monday. So best of luck, get some sleep, Raheen, and
no sleep, time to grind.
No, time to grind. All right, you know what? I also respect that answer, but I want to wish you and ANEW Blaze the best of luck on Friday, man, and because I would love to see you again in Challengers Uprising.